Allow me to introduce myself. Gus Polinski, Polka King of the Midwest. The Kenosha Kickers. No? That's okay. I thought you might have recognized. Anyways, I had a few hits a few years ago. That's why just polka, 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 polka. No? Twin Lakes Polka, Damavuji Polka, a.k.a. Kiss Me Polka, Polka Twist.
Well, these are songs.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Let's go ahead and check in on Ilhan Omar's net worth. Remember, Ilhan Omar is a refugee who came here with nothing, who needed welfare, who needed America to take her in from Somalia because there was just no opportunity for her and she just needed to get a start. And let's go ahead and see how that's going for her. Oh yeah, she's worth nearly $30 million. Somewhere between $6 million to $30 million. Oh, and these are conservative estimates. These are always lowball estimates. She, of course, started off in Congress and she had less than $10,000 to her name. But after 4 terms, she is now worth $30 million. Fascinating that. It's not 4, actually 3 terms. Sorry. That's pretty quick to become a multi-millionaire. What could possibly happened to Ilhan Omar that could have netted her so much money? There's billions of dollars in fraud that went on in Minneapolis. That's still going on in Minneapolis. And, we're starting to learn that Ilhan Omar has quite the connection to this fraud. Omar allies tied to massive Minnesota COVID meal fraud scheme involving Somali community. Individuals tied to Ilhan Omar, including former campaign worker and associates of the Minneapolis restaurant she frequented, allegedly profited from the scheme. Now, Ilhan Omar is saying she didn't know anything about it. I don't know nothing, she says. In fact, she'd said that when asked why was there so much rampant fraud with the Somalis, she said, well, it's actually the U.S. government's fault.
On why the fraud got so out of control in Minnesota?
I think what happened is that, when you have these kind of new programs that are designed to help people, you're oftentimes relying on third parties to be able to facilitate. And I just think that a lot of the COVID programs that were set up, they were set up so quickly that a lot of the guardrails did not get created.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's because the U.S. government was giving away too much money and we just stole it all. And so you didn't put in enough guardrails for us to not thieve and pirate it away from the U.S. taxpayer. This is what Ilhan Omar is saying. All right, got it. So now Ilhan Omar's, some of her closest associates are being arrested by ICE, aren't being arrested in all of this fraud.
All right, this news just breaking moments ago. Fox News has obtained photos of one of the Somali illegal immigrants wrapped up in the Minnesota fraud scandal, posing with several high-profile Minnesota Democrats, including Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Governor Tim Walz.
There you go.
The man pictured is Abdul
Vice
Dahir
President
Ibrahim. He entered the country in 2000 and has had an order for removal since 2004. He also has a prior conviction in Canada for asylum and welfare fraud. ICE tells Fox News Ibrahim was granted temporary protected status for 10 years, but should have never been eligible.
Starting to sense a trend here. There you go. Look at this. Oh, campaigning for Ilhan Omar. Would you look at that? It's only a matter of time, ladies and gentlemen. She's going to wish that it was just marrying her brother, that those are the charges that get her in trouble or wrong ways with the law. Look at this. Here you go. There's Ilhan Omar right there with the known fraudster and criminal alien. Obviously, he's running around in Democrat circles. Look at the number of people he's hanging out with, all these high-ranking Democrats in Minnesota. It's only a matter of time until people start really asking, what's going on in Minnesota? Everything from the murders, that murder spree, that was insane murder spree that didn't make any sense, to, here's Ilhan Omar literally promoting the fraud restaurant whose owner was caught scheming and frauding $250 million from the U.S. taxpayers. Wow. And here's Ilhan Omar working at it. It really makes you wonder, what did she know? When did she know it? A Democrat activist Close associate of Ilhan Omar has pled guilty to a connection to a massive fraud ring. Ilhan Omar worked at the fraud restaurant. Of course, here's Tim Walz with the fraudsters as well. This isn't going to end well, and the Trump administration seems sort of laser focused now. They have like a new emboldened mission. Ilhan Omar's net worth has exploded over 46,000%. $30 million net worth. Wow. Look at that. It's only going to end one way, ladies and gentlemen. You have now Dr. Oz, just one of many Trump officials who are out saying, listen, we are going to put an end to this. You probably heard Minnesota fraudsters stole over $1 billion in Medicaid. You deserve an explanation. Here's the explanation from Dr. Oz.
It's true. A Somali fraud ring in Minnesota stole over $1 billion from Medicaid. How did this happen? Well, Medicaid programs are run by the states, which in Minnesota means the Tim Walz administration. Governor Walz and the state's other Democrats rely on Somali votes to get elected, so they decided to look the other way because they were afraid of, quote-unquote, political backlash. Don't take my word for it. That's what a Somali-American fraud investigator told the New York Times. When these scammers realized that nobody was guarding the cash register, they went gangbusters. One program designed to provide housing stabilization assistance to patients ballooned to $104 million, when 4 years ago it was projected to cost only $2.6 million. Some of these taxpayer funds may have even ended up in the hands of a Somalian terrorist group. Scary stuff. When CMS became aware of the housing program situation, Minnesota insisted it could clean up its own mess. A few months ago, it admitted it could not. So we stepped in to shut down the fraud-infested housing initiative. Today, we're taking action on more than a dozen other programs, which I've outlined in the post below. Our message to Walz is clear. Either fix this in 60 days or start looking under your couch for spare change, because we are done footing the bill for your incompetence. This administration will never stop fighting to protect the vulnerable Americans who rely on these programs and the taxpayers who fund them. We're going to crush waste, fraud, and abuse.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that the Trump administration has found their target here, and Stephen Miller is the exact wrong guy that you want viewing you as a target for deportation and for prosecution. Stephen Miller's take on all this should make their blood run cold. The dog's got a bone. There you go.
Yeah, so based on what we have found so far, we believe that the Somali fraud operation in Minnesota is the single greatest theft of taxpayer dollars through welfare fraud in American history. We believe that we have only scratched the very top of the surface of how deep this goes. And you're familiar with all the scams with pretending that children have autism who are not in fact autistic, with pretending to enroll people in food programs when in fact nobody was ever enrolled, and engaging in massive fraud, lying, and theft and grift on a scale we've never seen before in American history. The total bill, the total tab for this is going to be far beyond the numbers we've already seen reported. We believe the state government is fully complicit in this scheme, and we believe that what we are going to uncover is going to shock the American people. Look, based on the records that we already have, and this is a significant undercount, by the way, 75% of the Somali population in Minnesota is on welfare. But that's likely a significant undercount of just how much of a financial burden the Somali refugee population is imposing on this country.
So Governor Walz was warned by whistleblowers. He was told. You saw the dismissive attitude of the Attorney General. Congresswoman Omar is on defense, but apparently is associated with people, or at least people around her, clearly seem to be involved, not been proven yet, but very defensive at this time. Do you believe all of them, that this will apply to all of them, their lack of concern, the amount of money involved, any possible protection that they offered?
Yeah, I think you're going to see all of that, Sean. This scandal is going to rock the core of Minnesota politics and American politics. We are going to be able to show through whether it be willful blindness, whether it be deliberately turning the other way or whether it be direct knowledge, we are going to show how Democrat politicians, Democrat bureaucracies, Democrat political systems, and the Somali refugee population ripped off the American people, stole countless taxpayer dollars, and engaged in scams that boggle the mind, scams that we can scarcely even conceive of or imagine in their brazenness. This truly underscores the extent to which the Democrat Party has used migration as a weapon against the American people to gain political power at the expense of American citizens, stealing their money, stealing their votes, stealing their sovereignty. This is going to be case in point for the argument that President Trump has made about why we must stop mass third-world migration into this country. It is a tool the Democrat Party has used to rob the American people blind.